Welcome to Zimbabwe, a land of stunning wilderness, proud heritage and Victoria Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. But behind the beauty, a tragedy unfolded, one that shook the world of conservation. This is Zimbabwe's largest and most iconic reserve, a haven for elephants, lions, giraffes, and countless species that define the heartbeat of Africa. It's here, just beyond the protective boundaries of the park, that a tragic story unfolded. A lion known to local rangers and conservationists, sometimes called Blondie for his striking mane, was killed, not by poachers in the dead of night, but by a trophy hunter, a man who paid $35,000 for the thrill of killing one of Africa's most magnificent predators. This wasn't just any lion. He was part of a scientific study, wearing a GPS collar, tracked, monitored, respected, a symbol of the park, and a link in the delicate chain of the ecosystem. But he was lured away from the protected area, coaxed across invisible lines drawn not for wildlife, but for human rules. And once outside the park's jurisdiction, he was shot dead. Legal? Yes. But moral? That's another question. A recent report confirmed all the paperwork was in order. Permits were issued, quotas approved. Even the GPS collar, designed for research, didn't stop the bullet. Because to the system that allows this, it wasn't about science. It wasn't about conservation. It was about money. Let's pause for a moment and really look at this. A lion, $35,000. A leopard, $10,000. A giraffe, $2,500. A vervet monkey, just $100. This isn't a fantasy list. This is an actual price sheet, offered by a real hunting safari business in southern Africa. But it's more than just numbers. It's the value placed on a life by someone who doesn't intend to let it live. But it goes deeper than just lions and leopards. Africa's wildlife is under full-scale assault. From legal trophy hunting, which targets the biggest, strongest, and most genetically valuable animals, to illegal poaching, which doesn't care about laws, borders, or conservation. Elephants are killed for ivory, rhinos for their horns, pangolins for their scales. Even the most iconic species are at risk, not just from bullets and snares, but from habitat destruction, shrinking water sources, and corrupt systems that look the other way. And while wealthy clients fly in to take a photo with their kill, local rangers, scientists, and communities are left trying to pick up the pieces, often with little funding, little power, and little hope. So when we say a lion costs $35,000, what does that really mean? It means a generation of cubs without a father. It means tourists who won't return to see empty grasslands. It means data lost, behavior studies ruined, ecosystems thrown off balance. And worst of all, it means this continues, year after year. Unless we say, enough. Sometimes I wonder, how will we explain this to future generations? What will we say when they ask, why did you let the lions disappear? Why are there no elephants left in the wild? What happened to the zebras, the giraffes, the rhinos? What do we say when a grandchild looks at a photograph, not a real animal, just a photo, and asks, did you ever see one? I have, and I'll never forget it. But that memory isn't enough. It won't protect the next lion from a rifle. It won't stop the next elephant from being butchered in the night. I've spoken with rangers who patrol day and night on foot, with barely enough gear. I've watched trackers follow blood trails left by poachers, and I've seen the haunted look in their eyes. They know the odds. They're fighting a war with sticks against money, greed, and guns. So, what can we do? We must raise our voices, even if they shake. We must demand real protection for these animals, not just paper promises. We must stop the loopholes that allow animals to be baited, tracked, and killed, even if it's legal. And we must stop calling this sport. It's not sport, it's slaughter. We must question the game lodges, look behind the glossy websites, ask, are they breeding lions just to shoot them? Are they truly conserving or cashing in? Because silence helps no one, except the killers. I didn't grow up in Africa, but the moment I stood in that wild bush, the dust on my boots, the sun on my face, the roar of a lion echoing through the trees, I knew this place mattered, and I knew it needed protecting. 100 lions are legally allowed to be hunted in Zimbabwe every year, somewhat of a contention to ecologists. I understand the reasoning of hunters and ecology. They will protect the habitats and look after the animals so as to make sure there is always a healthy supply to be hunted. My wife's brother was a hunter. But one has to ask, is this truly hunting? Is luring an animal from a protected area hunting? Is setting up an easy target really hunting? I would argue no. This is not even a sport. Even if it is legal, is it morally right? Animals hunt each other. Nature can be brutal. However, did that lion have a chance? Was it stalked and trailed and fairly killed? I.e., did it have a chance to get away by outsmarting the hunters? No. And even if you're a hunter, surely you can see that the killing of Blondie and many other animals, perhaps legal in this set-up way, is not right, is not sporting, is morally wrong. The older I get, the more I realize we are running out of time. 8 years ago, I stepped onto African soil for the first time. South Africa, then Zimbabwe. Two of the most breathtaking places I've ever seen, not just for the landscapes, but for the life that fills them. To sit quietly and watch a herd of giraffes move through the bush, to see zebras drinking from a water hole at sunset, to hear the roar of a lion echo through the night. It's magic, real magic, and it changes you. But alongside that beauty, I've seen the shadows. I've stood where a rhino was killed, its horn hacked away, its face butchered. I've heard the gunshots in the night, even in Kruger National Park. And I've seen what some people do for fun. Game lodges advertising weekend trophy hunts, proudly displaying their kills like trophies from a twisted game. Stuffed lions, stuffed leopards, stuffed giraffes, even baboons, dead animals posed in rooms like furniture, all to make someone feel powerful. But what power is there in taking a life that never needed to be taken? What pride is there in killing something wild, just so it can gather dust on a wall? I've seen the brochures, I've seen the price lists, and yes, I've seen the look in some people's eyes when they talk about it, the thrill. But here's the truth they don't tell you. That lion they shot, maybe he had a pride. Maybe cubs were waiting for him to return. That elephant they brought down, maybe she was the matriarch, the one who remembered the way to water in the dry season. These aren't just animals, they are teachers, leaders, ancestors in their own right. They belong to Africa, to the earth, not to whoever can write the biggest check. And the lion killed in Zimbabwe, Blondie, he had a GPS collar. He was being studied, protected. He lived in a protected zone. But still, he was lured out. And for $35,000, he was gone. Just like that. That's not hunting. That's betrayal. As long as there is a market, a buyer, a price tag, a loophole, there will be killing. It's not just greed. It's addiction to control, to conquest. But we can be better than this. We must be. Because if we allow this to continue, if we turn away and say nothing, then the silence that follows will not be ours. It will be the silence of the wild, gone forever. But what does it say about us when laws are shaped not by ethics, but by economics? When a lion's life can be measured, not by its value to the wild, but by the size of a bank transfer. Blondie's death wasn't a tragedy of accident or necessity, it was a transaction. Signed, sealed, and approved. He was just 5 years old, a strong, healthy lion in his prime, baited, deliberately lured from a protected space into a kill zone. And once his paw crossed an invisible boundary, the law turned a blind eye. All paperwork in order, all protocols followed. Yet something feels broken, doesn't it? Because a collar meant to protect him didn't. A system meant to conserve wildlife failed. And a majestic lion, known to researchers, guides, and his pride, was reduced to a photo op and a taxidermy bill. This isn't conservation, it's commodification. And while politicians and industry voices speak of sustainable use, communities still live in poverty. Rangers still fight poachers with outdated gear. And ecosystems lose leaders one bullet at a time. These are not hunters feeding villages. These are wealthy clients flying in from overseas, armed with cash, cameras, and egos. They kill not for survival, but for the thrill. To pose beside a corpse, to hang a head on a wall, to say, "I conquered Africa." So the next time someone says, "It's legal," ask, "But is it right?" Blondie should have lived. He should be roaming the grasslands of Hwanga today. Instead, he's another name in a growing list. Cecil Mopan, Blondie. How many more before we stop selling Africa's soul for a selfie? Let his story be more than a headline. Let it be a wake-up call. Because real conservation, it's not measured in dollars, it's measured in life. There are charities who are fighting back against poaching and hunting. We hope to visit some of them when we go back to Africa. Please subscribe and support our channel. Together, we hope we can raise awareness and help protect Africa's wildlife and support the good causes that truly make a difference.